A wise person once told me that love is a verb, it's never a feeling, and that it's something we choose to do every day, whether we feel like it or not. And I think that sometimes God probably feels that way. We do so many things that break his heart, and yet his love is just overwhelming. So we're going to talk about that today. I'm going to be using my illustrating Bible, and I have not used this Bible before, so we will see how it goes. I am not familiar with the way the paper is or any of that, so we're just going to learn together today. But it's really cool because it comes in this great box that you can keep, so that you can keep it nice and not have to worry about it getting messed up. And then it's spiral bound, so it lays flat, which is pretty cool. When you open it up, so you can work in it pretty easily, and I really like that. So we're going to be working in 1 John, so we're going to go all the way back to the back into 1 John, and we are going to be talking about God lavishing his love on us. Now in this version, it actually is I've got this in the way. It's actually 1 John chapter 3, and it's verse 1, and it actually says, "See what great love the Father has given us, that we should be called God's children." And we are. But in other versions, in my actual study Bible that I use for my daily quiet time, they use the word lavish. And so if you haven't read my blog, I did recently post a blog called The Best Way to Celebrate Valentine's Day. And it is all about God's love and how he lavishes that on us, and the definition of lavish and what that means. And so I thought, I really, really like that. Just that word lavish just stood out to me because it just sounds so amazing. And the fact that the God of the universe is willing to wrap his love around me, as small and insignificant as I am, it just made me so grateful. And so I wanted to do a page on love. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a page on 1 John 3:1, and we are going to start with preparing the page. But let me let you know, I've got all my supplies together, and I may or may not use all these, but I do have all of my distress inks that I usually use in my art. I have a bunch of different stamps that are on love and hearts and things like that. I went ahead and pulled some of my spray paints, and I pulled some washi tapes that are, have some hearts on them and things, and then of course various sizes of brushes, and I have my Dylusions paint pens, and I have my sponges for me to do my inks, and then I've also printed out some of the Illustrated Faith Jill's mixtape by Lane Davis. I did her package, and so it's got lots of hearts and stuff that I'll be cutting out and using in that as well. So just so you know, I'll list all of the supplies below in the description if you're wanting to know what I'm using here and there. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to excuse me. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and start with this Liquitex matte gel gesso, and go ahead and coat my page. I don't know if I need to with this Bible, and I actually looked up to see if there was any reviews on whether I needed to or not, and I didn't find a whole lot of information, so I'm going to go ahead and do it just to be safe. So just remember, when you are doing gesso on your page, to be gentle so you don't accidentally tear it. These pages I have figured out in this Bible are a little bit more sturdy than normal, so they can take a little bit more tug and pull. But for the most part, you want to be careful as you put your gesso on, and you always want to have a piece of paper under there not to contaminate the pages underneath it. So then I decided to match all of my distress inks with one of the hearts that I'm going to use as my element. So I took each of those 4 colors of distress inks, and I put them onto some clear shelf paper and sprayed them with water so that they would be liquid, and took my sponge and just did them, rubbed them all over the page so that they could kind of blend in with each other. And the colors turned out really, really pretty. They were a little pale for my taste. I really kind of wanted them to be a little bit brighter. So so what I did was, once I was done doing that technique, I went ahead and opened them all up and just went from the sponge to the ink, and then the ink directly on the page, and I didn't water it down, and that made them a little bit darker. So as you can see, the colors become a little bit more vibrant when I do that. So I decided that that was a much better technique for these colors because they were just too light. So I really liked it though. Once I got all of the colors on the page like that, they turned out beautifully, and they matched the heart that I was using as my guide really well. And so I went ahead and took the same ink colors, and I took this little heart stamp, and I used those colors to stamp my hearts onto each of the colors, so they had some depth and texture to them. So I used like the pink on the pink and the yellow on the yellow and so forth. And then I did a arrow stamp pointing towards my scripture that I was using. And I'm using that Illustrated Faith kit again for my hearts. So I went ahead and had them cut out, and I'm going to get them arranged on the page. So I took a little bit of time to dry the page because I did not want my hearts to get smeared. They are printed from an inkjet printer, so when they get wet or anything, they will get smeared. And there I'm just showing you where I got my elements from. These are all from the print and cut designs on the Illustrated Faith page, so you can find these there, but I'll try to link to them below if I can find the links to them. So, and then I'm going to use my Distress medium, my Ranger matte medium, it's kind of like a glue, to go ahead and put these elements down. You want to make sure that if you use this particular glue, that you do make sure it's very dry before you use any of your markers over the top of it, because it will ruin any of your markers because it is like a glue. So you want to make sure that you get those glued down really good, and however you want to have them. I apologize for the pounding in the background. My husband is we're working on remodeling our house, so you'll probably hear a lot of noise in the background as I'm making this video. So I'm just putting my elements on here and getting them arranged the way that I like them. And the colors turned out perfect with the inks that I used. I really like the way that they blended together and came out. They just were so pretty. And it really reminded me of God's love, because His love is so beautiful. So then I wrote out the word lavished, and I put on there the definition, which means expensive, impressive, and abundant. Because God's love is expensive, it cost Him Jesus, and it is very abundant because He never ever stops loving us. And it's very impressive because of all of the things that He is all powerful and able to do for us because of His love. So I just really like that term lavish, and I wanted to include it. And I included a section of my blog that talks about lavishing and the definition on that as well, because I really wanted to have that as part of my page elements. And then I went ahead and took the heart stamp and did some stamping with my Distress inks again around that element and over the top of that, so that it would have some depth to it. And then I took my Shimmer sprays, which are all in the same colors as well, the green, yellow, and the pinks, and I sprayed them onto the pages just to kind of bring out those colors a little bit brighter. The pink turned out beautifully. You can't really tell in the video the color, but in real life, the pink is absolutely gorgeous. It's super bright, and it's really shimmery. In the photos at the end, you'll be able to see it a little bit better. But I wanted to make sure my page was nice and dry, and then I wanted to add some washi tape underneath the verse to highlight that verse, because I wanted to make sure that the verse stood out. So I put the washi tape directly under the verse where the arrows were pointing, so that it would stand out on the page. And then, sorry about my hair being in the way there, I circled it so that it would be more prominent on the page as well. And then I just wrote out 1 John 3:1 at the bottom, so that it would stand out and everybody would know that was the verse, because the verse can get sometimes lost in the art, and I did not want that to happen. So I just wanted to make sure I was really clear on what verse that I was doing my stuff on. And then of course I dated my page. And then, you know me, I can't go without doing a splatter on my work. All of my work has splatter on it. And so I took some white gesso, added some water, and thinned it out. And then I did the white splatter all over the page so that it would have just a really nice depth to it with the white gesso on top. And it turned out absolutely beautiful. So I hope that you guys feel as amazed as I am by God's love. I hope you got inspired by this video. I hope you'll try a page of your own, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Be sure, if you like this video, to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And you can go to my blog at ellenmosleymade.com and click on the blog tab. Y'all have a great week.